Well, many people reacted differently to Spencer's presence here in Gainesville. Some people just ignored it altogether and stayed home. Others took part in virtual assemblies where they could go on organized social media events and voice their thoughts in a place where they felt safe. But hundreds of people wanted to get as close to Spencer as they could, voice their message that they hoped to drown out his, with added law enforcement. Hundreds of law enforcement officers in place to keep both the protesters and Spencer safe. In their city, on their college campus,
Namaste!
UF students and Gainesville residents marched by the hundreds toward the Phillips Center,
We don't want your Nazi hate!
the site of the Richard Spencer speech.
We're going to let you know in one giant voice, no, you're not welcome.
While passionate, these protesters stayed peaceful for the most part, with hundreds of law enforcement officers from across the state staked out to make sure potential violence would be quickly contained. But at least one arrest in front of the Phillips Center. Our cameras captured one private security guard who was hired by a news outlet being arrested for carrying a weapon. Meanwhile, lines developed to get into the speech, but not necessarily by supporters. Freshman Tanner Beachy sat through the speech.
Rows of supporters in the front, about 30 of them, then hundreds upon hundreds of people standing in the back, just bringing the energy. You couldn't even really hear what he's saying just because of how loud the protests were.
Other protesters were turned away from getting in. Spencer's team carefully screening individuals who were handed one of these tickets. Freshman Zachary Ray was let in, but came right out.
That's one less person that's going to be inside, so glad to do that.
And Marissa Mulholland was turned away.
They didn't let me in because I had a phone number written on my arm, and they didn't let another girl in because she had a Hindu tattoo on her arm.
Now law enforcement gears up for the next task, making sure this security stays tight into the night. Now, that student protester says that when they were all leaving the speech, someone did pepper spray some of the people living the building. He said he could taste it, but fortunately he was not injured. Now law enforcement, they're moving into the next phase of all this. This is now going into the night. They will still have security in place on campus and off campus. In downtown Gainesville, weapons bans will still be in place until tomorrow. In Gainesville, I'm Megan McRoberts, WPTV News Channel 5.
One political activist and philosopher many of these UF students may have read about in school, Noam Chomsky, said if you don't support freedom of expression from those you despise, then you don't support freedom of expression at all. A message, though, still hard for many here today. So upset about Richard Spencer being here, upset that the university allowed him to be, but UF said as a public institution it had no choice. And its president, Kenneth Fuchs, had this message today.
Today, we have an opportunity to seize the moment, to speak loudly, to speak to the national media about our values of inclusion, our values of love, and thereby overcoming and silencing the white supremacists.
So again, at the end of the day, Richard Spencer done with his visit to Gainesville. Again, a peaceful day that ultimately unfolded with more than 1,000 strong making their voices heard loud, united, and clear. Reporting live from the western edge of the UF campus, I'm Michael Williams, WPTV News Channel 5.